when your expectations are not being met in a relationship. Maybe you are in a relationship and you are not happy with your partner. You have talked to them several times about the problems you're having, but they still aren't meeting your expectations. What do you do when your partner continues to disappoint you? Is it time for you to break up? It's normal to want your partner to meet your expectations, but in this video you will learn how to deal with when things don't go as you wanted. Why are expectations important in a relationship? When two people are in a relationship, they create expectations of one another. These expectations can be positive or negative, but they are important because they form the basis of what the couple expects from their relationship. If one or both of the people in a relationship does not meet those expectations, the relationship can be seriously affected. There are a few reasons why expectations are important in a relationship. The first is that they form the basis of how we measure our success or failure in a given situation. If we set high expectations for ourselves, we are more likely to be successful. But if we set low expectations, we are more likely to be disappointed. The second reason is that expectations help us to understand and anticipate the wants and needs of our partner. When we know what our partner wants and needs, we can better cater for them and create a more fulfilling relationship. The third reason is that expectations are a barometer of what we value in our life. If we can exceed the expectations of our partner, they believe that we are willing to put in the effort to make their lives better. If we fail to meet these fairly high standards, our partners may feel upset and resentful. This can lead to problems in the relationship. In a romantic relationship, there are three basic types of expectations. Performance-based expectations, which relate to how well you perform in a relationship. The expectations of peers or acquaintances, which are tied to the standards of how others view you and your relationship status. And also, internal expectations, which refer to what you expect from yourself. A performance-based expectation is something that you have agreed to do in exchange for a promise of something else. If you agree to marry someone, he or she may demand that you make an effort to look good on date nights. A partner who expects such little effort will be offended if their partner fails to meet the performance expectation. In this video, we will look at the performance-based expectations and why they may be a problem in a relationship. First of all, let's consider the relationship between expectation and performance. As part of a performance-focused relationship, both partners make an effort to influence each other's behavior. This may be in the form of telling each other what to do, or even just tolerating one another. The idea here is that if someone does not meet their partner's expectations, then this person will feel frustrated about it. Because the partner fails to live up to their expectations, they also fail to meet their own. After all, if you can't even measure up on your own ideas of what you should be doing, then how are you going to be able to do anything else? The problem here is that there is a tendency for people to take this line of thinking and abuse it, as well as being toxic in relationships. One-sided performance expectations can lead people into a vicious cycle of disappointment. If you are comparing yourself to others, then you will never be able to measure up. This leads to even more comparisons and expectations that can create a downward spiral of negative feelings. The key is to establish your own personal expectations and keep them in check. You must have a balance between what you think your partner should do or be like, as well as what you actually want them to do or be like. The reason why this is important is because people need space to grow and develop on their own. When you do this, it will also allow for your partner to flourish into the person you desire them to be. So if you are comparing yourself to others, or going through a toxic cycle of one-sided expectations, it is important to think about what kind of person you want your partner to become. You can't expect someone else to mold themselves around all of your perceived needs and wants if you don't give them the space and time to do so. What are some realistic expectations in a relationship? When you have expectations of a relationship, it can be difficult to adjust if those expectations are not met. For example, if you expect your partner to be there for all your needs and to make all the decisions for both of you, but they don't always fulfill that role, it can be frustrating. But it's important to remember that not every relationship is going to work out the way you want it to. The key is to have realistic expectations and find a partner who shares those same values. So what are some realistic expectations in a relationship that are important to keep in mind? Number 1, a partner must be honest with you. If they are being untruthful, you deserve to know. Don't be afraid to ask them questions that might hurt their feelings and embarrass them. However, do not use lies or excuses as the reason for your confusion or frustration. If a partner is consistently lying to you, this poses a serious risk for an abusive relationship. Number 2. A partner must be supportive of all your decisions and needs in life, including career paths and hobbies. It's important for your partner to encourage your dreams and be patient with your developmental stage. However, it's also important to discuss possible conflicts, as well as work through them together. Number 3. A partner must treat you like a person, not just a reflection of themselves. Treating another person with respect, dignity, and love is something that should never be taken for granted. Number 4 is the idea of communication, or the power of speaking up about what's on their mind or what needs to be said. Your partner must be willing to listen and let you know what's going on in their life. Number 5. A partner must treat you with respect, kindness, and love. This one is more about a relationship, not just being in a relationship. That means that they must treat you with respect and kindness on an emotional level, as well as respect and kindness when it comes to the way they communicate. Number 6 involves the idea of trust. This one's fairly self-explanatory, but it means that your partner has to be trustworthy. They can't cheat on you or get caught in some sort of illicit activity with someone else. It has to be on the level, and you have to be able to trust them. Number 7 means being able to communicate well with them. This can take a while, but if you can't talk without them interrupting you or starting arguments, it just isn't going to work out. They need to be able to discuss things calmly and rationally. If your partner struggles with this one, then it might not be the best idea anyway. Number 8 is about having both of you be able to see eye to eye. It means that you can both agree on the same things, and not just by default. You have to want the same things out of life. If your partner doesn't share your beliefs or has a completely different set of values, it could be pretty hard to make it work out. Number 9 is all about having fun together with no problems whatsoever. A relationship should be enjoyable for both of you, and if there are any conflicts whatsoever between you, then you're probably not ready to be in a serious relationship. Number 10 is about being able to communicate with each other freely and openly. This means that you share personal thoughts and feelings with your partner without having to worry about how the information might be interpreted. You can talk about anything that's on your mind, and you can ask for advice when you need it the most. It's important for both of you to have a healthy relationship in which mistakes are forgiven easily. Make sure you're both emotionally and physically capable of being in a relationship. If you're still dealing with serious personal issues, don't rush into a relationship just to take your mind off of things. You need to be ready for a relationship before you enter one, because once you start dating someone else, it will become difficult to back out even if things aren't going well. When expectations are not met in the relationship after talking to your partner about it. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you feel like your partner is not meeting your expectations? Maybe you communicated your expectations to them, but they still don't seem to be following through. Now let's talk about why these expectations may not be met, and some tips on how to deal with it. When expectations are not met in a relationship, it can lead to frustration on both sides. Oftentimes, one person will communicate their expectations to their partner earnestly and thoughtfully, but the partner may not follow through. The reason behind this could be anything from a lack of knowledge or understanding of what was said to simply not caring. However, the key is to communicate the issue as calmly and rationally as possible so that it can be resolved. Here are some tips. Try communicating your expectations in a clear and concise manner. Be specific about what you want and how you want it done. Avoid using vague language or making assumptions about what your partner knows or doesn't know. Make sure that you're also willing to listen to what your partner has to say. If they have a legitimate reason for why they cannot or do not want to do something, take the time to understand and find a solution that works for both of you. The last thing you want to do is come off as rude or argumentative. This will only lead to more frustration than if you simply let it go and let your partner know what you expect from them. Also, think about possible solutions. Sometimes just saying no can actually solve the problem. If your partner wants to do something but does not feel that it is appropriate for either of you, it may be better to just say no than to let it go on and fall deeper in the trap of your partner feeling wrong. As more and more time goes on, you may feel that there is no way out. If this is the case, then it may be time to make a decision about how long you will put up with their behavior. What can you do when your partner doesn't meet your expectations? When you are in a relationship, it is important to have expectations of your partner. However, sometimes our partner's actions do not reflect what we expect them to do. This can lead to frustration and disappointment in the relationship. There are a few things that you can do in order to manage this frustration and prevent it from turning into a destructive relationship issue. First, be honest with your partner about what you expect from them. This will help them understand where you are coming from and make more effort to live up to your expectations. Additionally, try to be understanding when your partner does not meet your expectations. Give them the benefit of the doubt and allow them the opportunity to make things right. If they cannot do this, then it may be time to revisit your expectations for the relationship. The behaviors that your partner exhibits can be very frustrating at times. However, if you are willing to look at them from a different perspective and learn from this experience, these behaviors may turn out to be beneficial in the end. For the rest of us, it is best to learn from these examples and do our best to avoid the trouble. Also, it is important to not take these behaviors personally. We all have an inner critic that may be somewhat judgmental of our own critical nature. The best way to avoid this problem is to remain non-judgmental and open-minded. This will help you to find the good in your partner and accept their behavior with a healthy understanding. After all, nobody's perfect. Lastly, it is extremely important for you to use emotional intelligence in dealing with these issues by observing what makes your partner tick and understanding how to react to their behaviors. This will help you to be more understanding and compassionate. When to break up out of fear of them not meeting your expectations. There are a few factors that you should consider when making this decision. First, you should try and objectively look at the situation and decide if the relationship is really worth continuing. In some cases, even if the other person doesn't live up to your expectations, continuing the relationship may be more harmful than helpful. For instance, if you constantly put all your energy into trying to change them, it's likely that they will eventually resent you. On the other hand, if you're willing to cut ties and move on without them, you may find someone who meets your needs better. Second, remember that breaking up is not always easy. It can be tough to let go of someone who has been important in your life, but it's often for the best. If things aren't working out and the two of you don't see a future together, it's best to end things before it gets too complicated or damaging. Finally, keep in mind that breaking up is never easy for either party involved. It can be hard to face reality and admit that something isn't working. It can be even harder to break the news to a person you care about. However, both of you will eventually be better off without each other if you choose to part ways. What is the right approach? We know it sounds strange, but doing things like trying to change your partner's behavior or mood might not be the best move if you want them and you to stay together. The trick is to end things in a way that's respectful, so you don't leave a bitter taste in the person's mouth. If you can accept your partner for who they are and end things, you'll be able to move on with your life instead of being stuck in a toxic relationship.